For legions of upgrade-starved Microsoft fans, the Lumia 830 is as close as it gets to exciting in the opening months of 2015. But does this so-called mid-range flagship deserve its ambitious title? Let's find out. I'm Michael Fisher with Pocket Now, and this is our Lumia 830 video review. The Lumia 830 might be a full 100 digits below Windows Phone's true flagship, the 930, but the step down in prestige also brings a step down in size. At 8.5mm and 150 grams, the Lumia 830 is a very palm-friendly, very pocketable little Windows phone. The sides are cool aluminum, and the back is a polycarbonate panel available in several colors and adorned with the old Nokia logo, one of the last uses of the legacy branding you'll see on a Windows phone. Popping it off reveals a removable battery and a microSD expansion slot, increasingly rare customizations these days, and welcome news for those who need more power or more storage. Up front, the display is nice and big at 5 inches, protected by Gorilla Glass 3 that almost seems to pool at the corners. On the whole, it's a very nice piece of hardware, especially for the mid-range. Dig a little deeper, and the disappointments start to show. First, the display is IPS instead of AMOLED. Now, some might call this an upside and not a disadvantage, but the lack of true blacks and high saturation is a real bummer on Windows Phone, where colorful live tiles floating on an expanse of pure darkness is much better served by AMOLED. Also, the polarization filter that Nokia uses means the screen starts getting pretty milky viewed off-center, and modes like glanced screen aren't nearly as dramatic in darker conditions. Finally, the screen is 720p instead of Full HD. It doesn't bother us much, but eagle-eyed buyers might pick up some pixelization here and there. The rest of the hardware is a mixed bag. The speakerphone's rear-mounted position is disappointing, if predictable, and the top-mounted USB port is just plain awkward if you're using the phone when plugged in. Fortunately, there's built-in wireless charging here, so you don't need to bother with wires if you have a Qi-compatible charging pad like the DT903 here, reviewed in another video. And the changeable covers offer a modicum of customizability, even if they do give under the finger a bit more than what we're used to feeling from a Lumia. The 830 runs Windows Phone 8.1 GDR1 with the Lumia Denim update, which is fantastic, except it's not. See, while this is technically denim, it's not totally denim, or at least not denim enough to support one of the biggest upgrades to the camera experience, Lumia Camera 5. Whether this is a symptom of carrier delays or Microsoft being sluggish with the release, it's very frustrating. And more frustrating is Windows Phone's perennial pain point, the ecosystem. January 2015 saw two major blows in the United States as two of America's largest banks pulled their apps for Windows Phone, citing lack of users. This comes on the heels of Microsoft releasing Office and Outlook apps for Android and iOS, titles that in some ways eclipse their Windows Phone counterparts. So the app gap is still a concern if you're any kind of power user. In every other respect, Microsoft's smartphone platform has only gotten better since we reviewed the 8.1 release last year, with the most visible addition since being the Microsoft Health app. During the review period, it worked with my Microsoft Band to keep me up to speed on notifications while logging everything from my steps to my sleep. Yeah, it's still an ugly accessory, but that's not the 830's fault. Major third-party titles like Spotify have also seen extensive upgrades, while high-visibility apps from other circles, like NPR One, have popped up too. And the star of the Windows Phone show is still the animated, information-packed start screen. Being able to pin pretty much anything to home base and check its information at a glance is still one of this platform's key advantages, along with a visual design that's still fresher and cleaner than most other platforms. That said, it's pretty easy to trip up the 830 with more pressing demands on the hardware. This is just a Snapdragon 400 under the hood, backed up by a single gig of RAM, and Windows Phone 8.1 isn't always as silky smooth under those limitations as earlier versions of the OS.